Now we have a very special session coming up, a focus on the Olympics. I'm really excited about this. I'm a complete Olympics junkie. It's like time stands still in my household when the Olympics are on. I've gone to 2 Olympics, and P&G has a long-standing partnership with the Olympics. And for any of you who have watched for the last number of years, you've seen that work. And you know how much the company supports the athletes, the coaches, and the families involved. So before we introduce our first guest in this segment, let's take a look at a short film from P&G's Olympics work.
Your whole life, you've done things I could have never imagined doing.
Things almost no one in the world can do.
But I'm proud of you for something else.
I'm proud of you for doing the things that we could all be doing.
The things you do, not for yourself,
Look at that.
but for others.
The things you do every day.
Things that matter.
Share my story.
The impact you have on the world around you.
And I can't wait to see what you do next.
I mean, that stuff just gets me every time. I don't know. And what would an Olympic segment be without a current Olympic athlete? I am so proud to introduce our next guest, Chloe Kim. Chloe is an American snowboarding champion. At the 2018 Winter Olympics, she became the youngest woman to win an Olympic snowboarding gold medal in the halfpipe at 17 years old. 6-time X Games gold medalist. First woman to win 2 gold medals in snowboarding at the Youth Winter Olympic Games, and the current World, Olympic, Youth Olympic, and X Games champion in the halfpipe, and the first to win the title for all 4 major events. Thank you for joining us, Chloe Kim.
Hello.
So good to have you here. Let's start at the beginning. When did you first imagine that you were going to be a competitive snowboarder, and when did you first dream about going to the Olympics?
So my parents loved watching the Olympics, so we'd always watch, the Olympics at home. And I think it was 2006. I was watching women's halfpipe snowboarding, and this is kind of when I already was snowboarding on and off just for fun with my family, and I was thought it was pretty cool, and I told my family that it was something that I wanted to do, and they were kind of yeah, right, of course. But I was really, really passionate about it, and my dad was like, all right, cool, let's see if this is possible or not, and it happened.
Well, it couldn't have just been that easy, right? I mean, some kids are kind of groomed from the beginning and driven by their parents or by a coach or, by a school. How did it happen for you? How did you first realize, I might be pretty good at this?
Yeah, so I started snowboarding when I was 4 because my dad wanted to try it, and he took me with him. Uh-huh. And I think I caught on to it pretty quickly, as you can imagine, since I started at such a young age. But I didn't actually have much experience with halfpipes until I was about 9 or 10. With a good
so
halfpipe.
Old.
Yeah. No, but I did my first big junior jam competition when I was, I think, 9 or 10, and I won gold at that one. And I was like, okay, I feel like I might be really good at this. And I just kept competing at those events, just kept getting better. And at 13, I got my first medal at a pro event, competing against all of my role models and idols, people I looked up to, people I watched on TV when I was younger. And from there on, it just kind of got crazy. And I honestly, sometimes I have to take a step back and realize how my dream came true. Mm-hmm. I feel like for me, it just felt a little impossible at times, but the fact that it actually came to life just feels so surreal, and it really motivates me to continue working harder and being a better snowboarder.
When you won that first Olympic medal, what was that like? I mean, I think that feels like something that almost all of us project ourselves onto when we, see the medal ceremony. But what did it feel like for you?
It was so crazy. I think when it happened, though, there was so much going on that I wish I was able to just take a moment and really take in everything that was going on. But I actually had a dream the night before, or this weird deja vu moment where when I was standing on top of that podium, like my family was in the exact same place as they were in my dream. And it was so weird. But I think I can't even put it into words, that feeling. It was kind of the feeling where you just feel so good and like so excited and so happy, and also pretty emotional because you realize that this moment is what you've worked for, the past 15, 16 years of your life, I guess. Right. It's so weird because I started when I was 4. So it's what, 16, 17 years now? Oh my God, I've been doing this for so long.
But you're so young to say that. I have to say, please, at least until the Olympics this coming winter, don't get sick of it, okay? Now, when you're standing at the lip and you're about to drop in and everything is on the line, how do you clear your mind? Like, what is going through your mind? Is anything? How do you get to that moment of focus?
I was just blasting my favorite song at the time, and I don't think I was nervous. That might have been the first competition where I just felt no nerves at all, and I think it was kind of a thing where I feel like leading up to it, I was so nervous and just so anxious, just kind of expecting the worst, expecting the best, not really know what was gonna happen. But when you're up there at the Olympic finals, you're just like, whatever. At this point, you put in all the work. You worked as hard as you could to get there in the first place. So I didn't want my nerves to ruin that moment for me. So I was just jamming out to some good music, just having a good time, laughing, cracking jokes with friends and coaches, and just keeping it as lighthearted as possible, which is pretty hard to do sometimes, but at that moment, thankfully, it all worked out, and I was so relaxed going into it.
That's that's inspiring. And by the way, the connection between music and sports, there we just made it again. I mean, you see that at the NBA Finals. You see that with all sorts of elite events. The headphones in and just the focus. How has your world changed? You're now world famous, and that must be strange to be recognized on the street, to have people who come up to you, ask for your autograph, root for you. Does that change you? How have you handled that?
I think that has been the trickiest part of it all. I don't think I had never expected it to get to that point. I just thought I'd hopefully win the medal, or after I won the medal, I was like, all right, it's going to be pretty chill. Some people might recognize me for a little bit, but I think it would just blow over and whatever. But that definitely didn't happen. And I kind of wish I was more prepared for it, because even going to get breakfast somewhere and waiting in line, everyone in the line would turn around and just stare at me with the biggest smiles on their face. And it made me so uncomfortable because it's not something I've experienced before. I mean, sometimes in the mountains, because everyone's a big fan of snow sports, but in a big city like LA, you never expect anything like that. I didn't, at least. So it caused a lot of anxiety, and it got to the point where I didn't want to leave my house for a good amount of time because I didn't know how to handle it, and I just felt so much pressure to be this happy, bubbly person. I was at the Olympics, obviously, because I just won a gold medal. But just that pressure of being this version of yourself and not really being able to have a bad day didn't sit well with me. And there were definitely moments where I just couldn't deal with it and I had to run away. So right. I'm sorry to those people who saw me in that light, I wasn't doing very well mentally, but I'm in a much better place now.
Well, it's clearly you've learned some lessons, because just the ability to talk about it like that means you've moved through it, it seems. And to that end, you are now working with companies and starting to engage the way that many athletes engage, which is they have their own platform. They choose the sponsors they want to work with. One of them is in P&G. Were you prepared for that part of the journey, which is, you know, sort of the business of being Chloe Kim?
Yeah, I think I signed my first professional contract when I was like 12 or 13, and I think from there I got more and more opportunities as I continued to do well in events. But most of them were within the snowboarding world and that community. But I think the coolest part about the Olympics is that you get to work with all these brands like P&G, and you really get to branch out, and I love it. I feel like it's really, it comes around every 4 years, and it's really interesting. I think sometimes I get a little nervous because I don't know how to act necessarily with all these like big brands, but at the end of the day, I feel like I love meeting new people. I love working with different brands. I love learning about how they approach the business side of their companies and how they want to do all that. So I've learned a lot, and I'm excited to continue to learn. And I actually love sitting at all those meetings where you're like brainstorming ideas for an upcoming shoot, all of that stuff. I think it's really interesting, and it's an honor that brands like P&G are interested and are excited to work with people like me. So I think at the end of the day, I'm just so grateful.
Well, that brings me to one of my last questions, which is, when you're, on the box of Wheaties, so to speak, right? When you're out there with the brands, they are, making Chloe Kim bigger, right? And that makes you a role model. Do you think about that? I mean, the people in the line at Starbucks, the folks on the street or on the mountain who look to you as a role model. How do you think about being a role model, particularly for young women who, who look to you and say, I want to be like Chloe?
I think there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, because like I said, I think it kind of makes me feel like I need to be the best version of myself, and I felt that way for a really long time. But I started to realize that that's not necessarily true. Like, I think as long as I continue to be the most authentic version of myself and, I guess, handle my emotions well, which has been very, very difficult, by the way. But I think just trying to be as open as I can and just showing, those who do look up to me that it's completely okay to be yourself and feel all the things you feel and react the ways you need to react to let it all out and kind of reset. I think that's the best that I can do. And obviously, I just want to spread happiness and positivity. So I'm working really hard to do that.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I imagine you're also working very hard because you have an Olympics coming up, right?
I do. Let's do it again.
Well, best of luck with that. I think everybody in the audience is going to be cheering for you. And so good luck in Beijing. And thank you so much, Chloe, for being part of Signal this year. Really, really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for having me. Absolutely.
From one Olympian to another, we have probably the most famous Olympian in Brazil. Bernardino ROCHA de REZENDE, I don't know if I got that right, but I did my best, is a Brazilian Olympic volleyball coach. One of the greatest champions in the history of volleyball, accumulating more than 30 important titles over 22 years, directing both Brazilian women's and men's volleyball teams. Between 2001 and 2007, he was the coach of the Brazilian men's volleyball team, won 2 Olympic gold, 3 world championships, 2 World Cups, 3 Champion Cups, 8 World Leagues, and with the women's volleyball team, 6 consecutive Olympic medals from '96 in Atlanta through 2016 in Rio, 2 bronzes, 2 silvers, 2 golds. So please welcome Bernardino to drop some knowledge on us.
Hi there. Thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be with you and join this Olympic family, all this relationship and PNG and the Olympic movement. It's an honor to me to be here. I'll start with a
And what you've learned. Sorry, go ahead, please.
Okay. No, please. Come here. I was trying here, but please.
Oh, I'm just eager to hear what you have to say. I know that you may have prepared a few remarks, particularly as it relates to what you've learned and what business leaders might learn from it.
Yeah. The thing, I started my journey, my Olympic journey, as a young player, not a talented player, but and my first Olympics, I was 19 to 20 years old, and I went to Moscow in 1980. It was a kind of a very special moment, even if there's a boycott, but there's a first experience. And I had a kind of to overcome a physical issue, a very tough one. I blew my knee before the Olympics, and doctors said that I wouldn't make it. They gave me 3 months or 4 months to recover, and I came back in a month. I had such a big dream to become an Olympian. I just wanted to become an Olympian, to leave the Olympic dream. And then I went to Moscow, where I learned. I played very little, but I learned a lot. And this is Misha, the symbol of the Olympics. It's kind of a different Olympics because of the boycott and the political thing, but it was a first experience. And 4 years later, and I was learning to be there, to be an Olympian. This is such a world of excellence, a world of people searching for their best version every time. So you're in learning mode. I was 20 years old and trying to learn and to bring in more information, knowledge, to become a better version of myself. So it was kind of a diving into a world of excellence. And that was something that followed me for my long Olympic journey. This permanent process of evolution, questioning and becoming better and trying to, from just a participant to a protagonist. And then I became a coach in this, and my dream was to be the coach of my country in the Olympics. So when I started being a coach, the thing is that I really believed that there were some points that in any area, and the sports are not different, and the Olympic movement is not different. It's about being disciplined, about saying the right no's and doing what you have to do. People, life won't get you what you wish, but what you deserve by doing what you have to do. The discipline, like the bridge that will bring you from your dreams to your accomplishment for achievements. And always keeping humility, be humble, so you're gonna learn. You're not something special. Sometimes you do something special. The humility and pride in balance, pride of what you've done, and humility when you look at the mission you have in front of you, listening to people, setting the example as leader. So that's something that I was trying to implement during my whole career. And that started, we started this team in 2001 after Sydney. I got this team. They were 6th in the world ranking, and we wanted to reach the top. Then it was about choosing the right people, discipline, process, planning, and executing. 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. And in 3 years, we reached the top of the ranking. And we consolidate that leadership in 2004 in Athens, winning the gold medal. And when we got there, the question was, is it harder to get there or to keep that position, to keep on being on top? So that was the question, how do I deal with that? And my thing is that what I call the success trap. Are they still willing to pay the price? Are they willing to work hard, to keep humble, to keep discipline, and so on? And we kept going, another world championship. And in 4 years, we had another Olympic Games coming in. So I was always trying to provide an uncomfort zone, trying to bring them off the comfort zone of the champion. Sometimes they get into, like, no, I'm the champion right now, so I'm going to relax a little bit. So trying to do that every time. And I had to have some tough decisions to keep our culture of hard work, team first attitude, integrity strong. So I have to send home some players, to keep up, even if our results in the determined moment were not that good, but the culture was the most important thing to make us consistent during our journey. 4 years later, this is a silver medal photo. Looks like, this is this photograph here. For me, the legend is like results from the past don't guarantee anything in the future. The only thing that good results from the past bring to you are expectations and responsibility. So after winning a gold, the feeling of getting the silver medal was kind of a frustration, and we kept working and kept working, and so I had to build up a team, more team than bringing up some talent, because I do believe that we have to choose the right people, make tough decisions, and people with the same purpose build winning institutions, winning teams, and keep egos under control. As Michael Jordan say, I can win a match, one thing, but not the championship. For that, I need a team. Teamwork and intelligence wins tournaments, wins championships. That was we were trying to do and to build up. And 4 years later, yet we got to our third consecutive final, and we were up 2-0 against the Russians, and we lost 3-2. And I did learn that almost is equal to no. We almost got there, but we didn't get there. That was maybe the hardest lesson about resiliency, how to learn through pain. It was really painful. Get better decisions from mistakes from the past, and silence all the noise that were surrounding us, media and everything, to focus on what we should and could do, that execute better this time, and make the right decisions for 4 years later. And the thing is that 4 years later, I learned that the winner is just a loser that tried one more time. It's about being resilient, trying once more. And in Rio 2016, with a generation was not so talented, we went back to the top, to the gold again. 4 finals in a row, gold, silver, gold in Rio, our hometown, under a lot of pressure. And much more than a talented team, it was about hard work, it was about discipline, it was about common why. They wanted to give our people the satisfaction of winning the gold medal in our hometown in Rio. That's so significant for us. So this is kind of our journey here, 16 years now. From 64, first time the volleyball became an Olympian sport, we had 4 important medals from 64 to 2000 city, 36 years. In 16 years, we had all of that because of planning right, choosing the right people, leading, learning, keeping proud about what we did, humble about our future and our mission in the future. So what we tried to do all this 16 years with the national team. And now I finish saying that as things that sports in the high level of competition taught me. It's about obsession for details. Every detail counts. The difference between winning and losing is about 1 point. It's about a half of a second. It's about 1 millimeter. So every information counts. Information into knowledge. Innovation. Your possibility of adapting. You have to adapt very quick to new strategies from your opponents, from new teams that are coming in, and keep your learning mode on every time. So it's a world. The Olympic world is a world that the competition is at such a high level that you have to be learning. You have to keep humble and to keep learning every time. Otherwise, you won't be competitive. And we wish our dream at the beginning is from just participants to real contenders of the medal thing. So what we did, and I'm very proud of what we did. And right now the team, and my son is there, represent our family. He's the captain of the team in Tokyo. They start in 9 days. They start a new competition trying to get 1 more medal for our country. So that's a kind of a little story about my Olympic journey and how many people I met and how many lessons I had that I bring to my entrepreneur side of my life and to all the teams I deal with coming from the sports experience. That's what I did, try to.
I had no idea that your son is the captain of the team in Tokyo right now. That's extraordinary.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, with such an incredible arc of of learning, leading. This is the theme of the conference. You know, succeeding, failing. I mean, not many of us would consider a silver medal a failure, but I understand what you're saying, that the winner is just a loser who came back again. And, you know, you are not coaching this year. How does that feel? How does it feel after such a long period of leading so many teams to you know, it must be a sweet or bittersweet to see your son there, but to not be coaching?
Yeah, it's tough because, you know, I love the process. Not about being on TV, on the match lights of, you know, the arena. It's about being the process, training where the lights are not on. I really loved it. You know, when I was a young coach, I thought I was in the industry of winning and losing, and time gave me the perspective of I'm in the industry of developing people. So I do adopt the mission of developing people. If a player, if an athlete, you know, stays with me for a season, I must, you know, try to improve him as an athlete, as a person. That's what I try to do. So my next challenge is I was invited to go to France to coach the French national team in Paris 2024. So after Tokyo, I'm coming to France, and in 3 years' time, because of the postponement of the Olympics right now, I'll be back to the Olympics, guiding a different country, a different culture, so more learning coming in. I mean, how to deal with different athletes from a different country in Europe, different culture. So it's going to be tough, but it's going to be a fulfillment for sure. You know, a great challenge to live.
That does sound like a fresh new challenge, and I really appreciate you coming and bringing your insights to Signal. Best of luck to your family and your son in Tokyo and on your journey to Paris in 2024.
Thank you very much for having me here. All the best for all of you. See you soon, you know, in Tokyo. I won't be there, I'm with TV, but in Paris. Thank you very much.
All right, take care. And our next and final speaker in our Olympic segment has an inspiring story to tell about sustainability and community action coming out of Japan, where the Tokyo Olympics are set to start very shortly. Eric Kawabata is the APAC general manager for a company called TERRACYCLE and Loop Japan. TERRACYCLE, if you've followed the Signal 360 media newsletter, you know about it. It has a mission to eliminate waste. It's an extraordinary company, and it is bent to its mission. Eric launched TerraCycle Asia in 2014, TerraCycle China in 2017, and TerraCycle Korea in 2017. Welcome, Eric. Take it away.
Hello, my name is Eric Kawabata. I'm the Asia Pacific Regional Manager for TerraCycle. I manage Japan, China, Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. The Podium Project for the Olympics is a collaborative effort with the people of Japan to collect packaging waste across the country, bringing it together to recycle into raw materials which were used to build the Olympic podiums for Tokyo. We in TerraCycle have a very close partnership with Procter & Gamble, and P&G has a very strong commitment to sustainability. The president of P&G Japan had asked me for some ideas of how we can raise awareness about the issue of plastic waste and engage people to start recycling. And the idea, I came up with in discussing it with Mr. Standabasera, who's the president of P&G Japan, was to collect it at retail stores and to build something symbolic, something that would inspire people to action. And something that came to mind was the Olympics. It's something that is unifying, it's universal, right? It evokes emotion. It celebrates victory. It celebrates unity and humanity. And we thought, what a great platform, right? What a great way to motivate people. If we could tell them, if you help us collect plastic waste, we can show you, we can build something really cool with it. For example, like an Olympic podium. There were many challenges to achieve this, but I think, one challenge that stands out was how to engage and how to convince the numerous stakeholders who needed to be a part of this to make it happen. the way we overcame the challenges was to make as many stakeholders in the project as we could. And so we together, both TerraCycle and P&G as a team, together reached out to government officials, to the Tokyo Olympic Committee, to the International Olympic Committee, to prominent athletes, to stakeholders in the community who would be a part of this platform, a part of the project, to make something that would be a point of pride for not just the Japanese people, but to embody the spirit of the Olympics. And it was not an easy thing to do. It's not just me, it's not just P&G, it's the community. So one of the breakthrough points in this whole process was convincing a lot of the internal committees at TOGOG to get on board with us. And we had an internal champion within the local Olympic Committee. His name is Koji Murofushi. He's a personal friend of mine. And he was one of the first person that we sounded the idea with, and he loved it. He's a great guy. He is a champion of sustainability. He's also a former two-time Olympic gold medalist. He's a national hero in Japan. And at the time, he was the director of athletics at the Olympic Committee. And so we arranged for him to, I would say, pay a surprise visit during one of the meetings that P&G and TerraCycle were having with the Tokyo Olympic Committee. And it was at this meeting that we brought in mock-up podiums to be tested for strength, for different specifications. And we arranged that he would surprisingly show up, and he would knock on the door, which happened, and they opened the door and they see, wow, the national hero standing in the doorway. And everybody was shocked. And he looked over at me and he said, this is my friend Eric. What are you guys doing here? And of course he knew. But he was playing along and he said, wow, what is this? Wow, this is the podium we've been talking about. This is the mock-up. It's fantastic. And he got up, he stood up on the podium, and it was this part was coincidental. We were talking about the strength of the podium, how we've made it properly. It's been tested. He's a big guy and he started jumping up and down, and he did something which was really cool. He raised his hands like in victory, and I think there's a flood of memories from past Olympics in Japan going around the entire room of the committee. And I could tell you that was a pivotal moment in approval for the project. The unveiling ceremony for the podium is something really unique. I think if we're just, a normal podium, there would not be an unveiling ceremony, first of all. Now, I think there was a tremendous amount of significance because we're in the middle, of a state of emergency in Japan still. There are questions about safety, and there are not a lot of positive things going on at the time in this country, and for that matter, globally. Now, there's questions about safety, about the Olympics as well, and there was some doubt, I think, within the public sentiment. The ceremony for the unveiling of the podium was amazing. Now, it was done in a beautiful center. There was an orchestra, and there were people giving speeches about what this meant for the country, what this meant for society, what this meant for sustainability, how this was a symbol of pride. It was an example, right, of what can be done if people come together. And there was positive reaction from the media, overwhelming response from the public. And I was told by many people in the Japanese government, and stakeholders in the project as well, that they viewed this as a very pivotal moment, which changed, right, the sentiment around the games, a shift to positive sentiment. And because of that, it was not just symbolic for sustainability, right? It was symbolic as it signified or it symbolized change in sentiment around the games into positive forward momentum. And so it was something that I don't think we expected, but under the circumstances, it turned out to be even more meaningful than just sustainability, right? It embodied the spirit of the Olympics. And Mr. Morofushi, right, who we just, I had mentioned, he himself told me, this is what the Olympics is about. And I'm going to use this in all my speeches when I talk about the Tokyo Olympics. We're working together with P&G to bring similar sustainability programs to all future Olympics. Hopefully we'll see more podiums as well, recycling initiatives, right? Engaging the communities to use the Olympics as a platform for good, right? To use the platform to raise awareness about sustainability and the need for the public to engage, to make people aware that it's not just, a problem of one country or one person. It's something we all need to embrace. It's something we all need to work together to achieve. And so we plan to continue these projects, working with Procter & Gamble to bring this to future Olympics and make the Olympics very sustainable.